Top Gun Maverick has been long in development. So many years Tom Cruise has been trying to get this movie made, but it is finally out. And yes, we all enjoy the original Top Gun. It's an 80s filled joyride. But this is better than it in every conceivable way. As well, it is one of the best cinematic experiences I have ever had. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing Top Gun Maverick and non-spoilers. And after more than 30 years of service as one of the Navy's top aviators, Pete Mitchell Maverick is back where he belongs, pushing the envelope as courageous test pilots and dodging the advancements and rank that would ground him. Directed by Joseph Kosinski and written by, of course, people like Christopher McQuarrie, this is starring, once again, Tom Cruise, Jennifer Connelly, Miles Teller, Val Kilmer, and Glenn Powell. I've been out of my mind pretty excited for this. The first Top Gun is something that I grew up watching with my dad. Love that 80s joyride and always loved going back to it. Even though it had been years, when I just rewatched it, it still holds up to be such a fun joyride for what it is. Diving into this, Top Gun Maverick, I had the very fortunate experience of only seeing one trailer for this, which is the original trailer that premiered like years ago when this film's first trailer had popped up. And since then, I've just been excited. All the hype, all the background noise about this film has just been how amazing it is, whether it's directors accidentally breaking embargo or then the earlier press screeners finally coming out and discussing how fantastic this film is. Honestly, in the first 30 minutes, there was one really cool scene, but besides that, it kind of felt like just a nostalgic joyride trip through the original Top Gun, to the fact that it's like literally shot for shot at points of certain situations from the original film, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really getting the hype. I feel like it might be a little bit more of a nostalgic overload for some people. Then after the first 25 to 30 minutes, you're enjoying it, but the film kicks it into overgear and absolutely blows you away from that point. And that's where I'm going to have a fun discussion talking with you guys about this film down below in the comment section. So make sure to leave a comment. How excited are you for this movie? Also look out for a couple more videos that I'll actually be premiering alongside Top Gun within the week of release that are going to be quite fun. So if you are fans of Top Gun or just love talking movies, this is really much the channel for you. Leave those comments and hit that like and subscribe button so you guys are up to date on all those fun videos. Every review, let's start with the pros. And one of my biggest pros with this film once again comes down to the direction. I'm actually going to start with the direction because I think Joseph Kosinski is one of the most underrated directors when it comes down to Hollywood. Tron Legacy is, a really good sequel that I actually just saw for the first time and I loved it. Oblivion is a cinematic just adventure that for me visually is one of the best looking movies in quite a while. Maybe the story isn't for everyone, but still that movie itself is very unique. Then Only the Brave really surprised me in the way that he was able to handle that family element and really much bring a story that is, I'm from Arizona. That is a story that primarily takes place in Arizona and was very special. Top Gun Maverick is easily his best movie yet. From whether it is the way that he directs all the sequences, the action, the emotion, all the nostalgic bits, the way that he pieces it all together makes for a more matured film than the original, which is very much a thematical thing to look at where Pete Maverick is in his life. In the original Top Gun, he was a hotshot, maybe he was a little bit too cocky at times, but in this film, he's matured. It's 30 years later. Where is he at in his life? Where is he at living past everything that he's gone and done for the country and as well for himself? This is something that we learn throughout this, and Joseph's direction, his eye for that and bringing the screenplay to life is something that is absolutely dynamic and magical. And I love how Kosinski is able to frame all of that in such an exhilarating way. I just sat there in awe of the way that, again, they use so much practical effects with the jets flying around. And the way that he captures all of that footage and puts it together into these aerial dogfights that absolutely keep you on the edge of the seat. Because all the training stuff is great. But when you get down to the last third act, where it really is diving into the mission that they are at hand, it is probably one of the best things that I've experienced ever in a movie theater. I literally was gripping the edge of my seat. I was sweating. I was so invested with what Kosinski had in store for us within that direction. And that is top tier directing, to be able to rivet and edit and bring all of this together in such harmony to the point where it could have felt like collateral damage or just loud noise. It doesn't. It feels perfect. And at the same time, the way that he builds that up is that I was in downright tears through that third act, because it's an emotional roller coaster. You are invested in every single character that comes onto this mission, and you want everyone to get through it. And I would even go as far as say, like, if you had never seen the original Top Gun and you don't have any of that nostalgic bits, maybe you miss out on certain things between Maverick and Rooster, played by Miles Teller. But even then, I don't think you're missing out on too much, and I still think you will get that emotional core story that is very much in place here. And again, bravo to Kosinski, someone who can really much mix up the elements of family and relationships and the emotion in that, but as well as someone who can really much understand how to put together a fantastic action set piece and bring it all together in a very exhilarating and thrilling way. That's where it also goes as far to say Tom Cruise has starred in so many movies, and I'm honest to God ready to say, because I've never thought Top Gun was in his top 10 of all time. That's just personally my opinion. I think that film is very enjoyable, and it's a joyride for sure, but when I look at Tom Cruise's filmography, there are 10 other movies I would place in there. Top Gun Maverick is top 3 Tom Cruise films ever made. Flat out, honestly. And I think there's an argument to be made that we might be personally looking at, depending on how Paramount markets this movie, this could potentially be one of the first Best Picture nominees that we've seen this year so far. Now, I know there are tons of other movies that I've absolutely loved this year, such as The Batman, which I think is another movie I would love to see, but on actual credibility of what could get there, whether it's from marketing and just in general, the nostalgic ways, and in general, how the audience will feel, and as well as other people in this field, Top Gun is that one. And Tom Cruise kills it. He delivers one of his best performances of his entire career, as well as giving us one of the best films in his entire career. He is stellar in here, and again, brings that dynamic, that theme of aging and growing up and where you are now in your life, and I was so impressed with what he was able to do with this character and expand on him. Jennifer Connelly is arguably a better love interest than the original film. Her chemistry with Tom Cruise's Maverick is absolutely adoring, and you feel for it. And she's just really great with just the subtle details she's able to place in here. Miles Teller. I've always been on this guy's back. I love him as an actor. I think he's phenomenal in here as Rooster. He is very much boots to the ground, very rough and tough with everything that's kind of gone on, and there is more of a background story between him and Maverick that we have not seen, and when you discover that, you start to understand why he is feeling this resentment towards him, and it's important for the story, and it again contains some stuff that really much brings it up into the best parts of the third act. Glenn Powell as well, be ready to hear this guy. He plays an absolute dick in here, but Jesus Christ is he fantastic in here. And very much being the character that Val Kilmer was in the original movie, and he's got a big career ahead of himself. But speaking of Val Kilmer, I do want to talk about him for just 1 second. I was a little bit worried how they were going to bring the Iceman into this movie, and if they were actually going to use him in a very worthwhile way. Val Kilmer has been dealing with a lot of health issues over the last couple of years, hurt his voice to the point where he can barely talk anymore. And I didn't know how they were going to handle this. When it started, I was like, oh, is this really going to be the way that they're handling the character? When it finally kicks into one scene, it is arguably one of the most important scenes in the entire film, but that scene in general, again, the acting between Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer in just that one central scene was perfect. Leading into why, again, Top Gun Maverick is perfect. Like, I've talked about the directing, I've talked about the acting, I've talked about how damn emotional this movie is, and again, how it does feel and expand on that 80s nostalgia, but as well as it has funny bits to it. It brings that humor in there that was in that original one, that brotherly bond, that family bond that you felt between the Top Gun crew. But when it kicks into that third mission, I am honestly astonished by how fantastic that was. The way that they do all the aerial shots once again with the planes flipping and turning and shooting, you can totally tell the passion behind everyone in this sequences. And I would love to see a behind the scenes documentary on how they were able to capture all this, because it's truly speechless. It made me speechless watching this movie. And just, yeah, seriously, yeah. Top Gun Maverick is spectacular. It's seriously one of the best cinematic experiences I have truly ever had in a theater. Heartfelt, exhilarating, and downright emotional. Tom Cruise turns in one of his best performances, and Top Gun 2 becomes one of his best films in his career. This exceeds all the hype. First 30 minutes, I was like, okay, I see certain reasons for why people will be hyped, but is this really going to be the rest of the film? Kicks it into overdrive, and it absolutely becomes a monster. Joseph Kosinski has finally shown why he is one of the best directors out there, one of the more underrated ones. He's going to get a lot of jobs after this movie. Miles Teller, I love him in this. Glenn Powell will be a damn star one day. and I loved this movie so much. I can't express my feelings anymore for this. I know a lot of you guys are going to love this one. So with all that said, I'm going to give Top Gun Maverick an A+. My favorite films of the year, and I can't wait for you guys to see all the other videos I have coming out for this. If you're watching this right as it premieres, look out for other reviews that I have posted in the last few days. Heading to Star Wars Celebration pretty soon, so that's going to be a blast. So look out for some fun Star Wars content there. Obi-Wan, Stranger Things, all sorts of things like that. You know where to get it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. You guys are really all the best. Of course, guys, if you do want to check out films early, make sure to head on over to Sandwich on Films down below on how to see those. But of course, until next time, stay classy.